Hi. So, you've seen me all over the Tabernacle, and over the years I thought I'd been absolutely everywhere, until I've been taken behind the scenes into the office, the planning room as it appears, of the Notting Hill Carnival, and I'm joined by a man who gave a fantastic speech earlier, and you saw him actually part of the band last week's show as well. Matthew, how you doing, sir?
Hello. Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you. So Matthew, again, great speech, talking about the prep for Carnival, the upcoming Notting Hill Carnival, Europe's largest street party. What is the experience like for yourself?
I've been born and bred in Carnival, so for me it's just kind of business as usual, just being given an opportunity to do things on a higher level and help to coordinate it.
So how did you actually get involved in being part of this with the Tabernacle?
I've been the director of the Tabernacle for 5 years now. The Tabernacle is a subsidiary company and it's a building that belongs to the Carnival Village Trust, so that's how my involvement came about.
Okay. So when we're talking about, I'm seeing this huge map right now talking of the Notting Hill Carnival. Yeah. How much planning actually does take place in going in for, like, preparing for the Notting Hill Carnival each year?
It depends what aspect you're looking from. In terms of the planning, it's a year-round planning process. Because we were only announced as organisers in January, we've had a shorter run-up time, but it takes a whole year to plan Notting Hill Carnival. Not just from an organisation point of view, you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of people beavering away in their houses or workshops, making the costumes, rehearsing if they're in a steel band, or the Calypsonians are rehearsing and performing year round. Carnival is not just 2 days; it's kind of an ongoing thing. The 2 days of Carnival is the culmination of a year's work and a chance for people to celebrate.
Yeah. Earlier, during the speeches upstairs, Ansel mentioned that in terms of Carnival, it's part of 3M's: masquerade, music, movement. What are your fondest parts of the Carnival for yourself?
Well, for me, it's the different aspects of Carnival. So, you can go and listen to a sound system or get involved in a mass band, go and enjoy some nice food, go to one of the stages. I think it's the combination of all those things that makes up Carnival and makes it a unique event. It has aspects from Brazilian Carnival, but it's nothing like Brazilian Carnival. It's got a lot of strong influence from the Caribbean, but it's different to any Caribbean carnival. There's a lot of influences. Notting Hill Carnival is a truly unique event.
Indeed it is, indeed it is. In terms of the Tabernacle itself, in the build-up to Carnival, even during the Carnival weekend itself, what events will be taking place there?
We will have the Calypso tents, which start every Friday from the 3rd of August. So you'll be able to come here and listen to UK as well as international guests. They have guests at the shows every week. So there'll be that going on. There'll be steel bands rehearsing, costumes being made. There'll be lots of meetings, some official, some unofficial. There might be a group meeting in a meeting room, and as well as 10 unofficial gatherings in our open space, in the bar and restaurant, which is always open to the community, and the community make good use of it.
Great stuff. That's what I love about the Tabernacle. It's got such a community spirit that everyone's welcome. It's so welcoming. It's got a perfect atmosphere. I've never come in here and felt down. Even if you come in down, you leave with such a high spirit. That's what the Tabernacle delivers.
That's what we try and achieve. I mean, the Tabernacle is a really unique place, and it's not something you can just plan on paper. It's evolved for 30 years. This became a community resource by community activism. It was members of the community that kind of barricaded councillors, etc., into. Just next door to us there's a church which used to have a church hall next to it, and there was a public meeting that was held there, and they were held overnight, until they gave a commitment that this building could be used for the community. We've got pictures that tell that story going up our main staircase.
Wow.
This whole area has a massive history in activism. Powis Square, the park in front of the Tabernacle, that was owned by a private landlord. Members of the community at the time, there was no green spaces around, so they went and they pulled together some money and they tried to buy it off the gentleman that owns it. He refused. They went to the local council and they said, can you help us do a compulsory purchase order? There's nowhere for our children to play. They weren't interested. What that community group did was the guy that used to own Powis Square used to keep it and just keep one goat on there. It was corrugated iron around it. Nobody could go in there. they visited his house in Croydon. He had a nice big house, and they had a picnic on his front lawn. The result of that was that he then sold it to the council, and the council, made it a community space. So to this day, it's a park that's open to the community. Notting Hill has got a lot of private closed gardens where you can't go in unless you own the properties. There's kind of communal private gardens. Paris Square is an example of community activism, as is the Tabernacle. It was community activism that made it what it is today.
Wow. That's really insightful. I had no clue of the power of what's actually gone on in this area.
This area, North Kensington, it's been about activism from day one. You have to stand up if you want something. Nothing's going to be just given to you. Nothing worthwhile anyway. You have to come together as a community and ask for what you want. If you're not given what you want, you demand what you want.
Indeed, and the proof is here. The proof is most definitely here. So for anyone wanting to find out some more information of what's going on in the Tabernacle or anything on the Tabernacle, is there a website or anything you'd like to give out?
Tabernacle's website is tabernaclew11.com, and you can get information on there on up and coming gigs, workshops, information about the bar and restaurant. The Tabernacle is open 7 days a week from 9 o'clock every morning until at least 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And you don't have to. You can come here anytime, use the Wi-Fi, sit down. You don't have to buy anything, and it's always open. No matter what's going on in the theatre, the community know that they can always come into the Tabernacle, and that's young and old.
Great stuff, Matthew. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
It's been a
very
pleasure.
much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, right now it's an absolute honour to once again have Mr. Rudolph Walker with us right now. How are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm all right. I mean, excited after, the launch of the Notting Hill Carnival and the Tabernacle. And it's great. I mean, it brings back fantastic memories because I came over here in 1960, and I think it was in 1966 that the first remnants of the Notting Hill Carnival was born, and it's been growing. Unfortunately, due to my filming commitments, I'm unable to attend every year. But when I do attend, it's just fantastic to see the improvement and to see what has happened.
That is absolutely great. In talking in terms of the improvements that you've seen over the years, how has that experience been to see such changes? What are your favourite moments?
Well, I mean, the changes, which is so obvious, in that now we have people from right across the globe attending Notting Hill Carnival. Outside of Trinidad, is probably the biggest street festival in the world. And this augurs very well for the future, and especially tonight when we saw the youngsters on stage. So you get the feeling that Carnival is here to stay. It's in good hands. And that is important to me. When it was started, it was amongst a lot of Trinidadians, Jamaicans and other islanders, and now it's the local population. Now you see a cross-section of the community. Now you see all races, color, creed. And really and truly you sometimes wonder if the world can take an example from what is happening in Notting Hill Carnival. Maybe the world might be a better place.
Indeed it would. That is I've never thought of it that way, but that's very positive. Earlier while we were upstairs, we heard Ansel mention movement, masquerade and music. Which one of those would be your favourite part of the
you put me in the fix. Movement, masquerade, I mean they're all, and I think he didn't emphasize on any particular movement, masquerade, music. They all have equal you can't 33 and a third %. Oh, I know my maths, don't I? Each. All right, I like that.
That was a perfect answer. Most definitely. And you said due to commitments, you're not always available to attend the carnival. Will you be able to make it this year?
Well, I hope so. At this point in time, I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. But yes, I'd love to be there this year.
Sir, thank you very much. It's an honour, and hopefully we get to see you on the carnival day itself.
Definitely. Bless you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. One of the legendary DJs in the world of soca, the one, the only Mr. Hotwax. How you doing, sir?
I'm fine, sir. How are you doing, yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. So we've just had the press conference for the launch of Carnival. How was the experience for you?
Well, I must admit, really, it's an improvement to the years of Carnival launches and so on. So the new company that's in now, I'm just hoping that they'll do better than what we had before. So nothing's going to be worse than what we had before.
Improvement is always good. That's the key bit. We're going to see improvement. In terms of Carnival itself, what are your favourite moments of Carnival?
My favourite moment in Carnival is making the costumes and see the costume parade on the street, especially with the children. I think that's one of my greatest moments seeing.
It's always nice to see the children. It's nice to know that even though it started all the way back in '66, we're still seeing the legacy and the children still getting involved. That is very important.
Well, I think what we really need to do, we need to make sure that children develop in making costumes and carry on making costumes and making this about the Carnival.
It's so important. It's so important. In terms of Carnival and hearing yourself, who will you be playing with this year? Where can we find you during the Carnival?
Well, I'm actually got the Hot Wax Carnival band, as you can see. The Hot Wax Carnival band, the Rum Kerry crew. This year we're doing the Pirates of the Caribbean. And as I said, we are big on the road.
That's good, that's good. So look out for the Hot Wax Carnival crew.
Look out for the Carnival, Pirates of the Caribbean, Rum Cherry crew.
I like that. That's nice. That's nice. And for all of those wanting to hear Hot Wax, where can they tune into you now?
Well, Hot Wax is actually a mobile. They play all over the country and Europe. So it's basically look out for the leaflets, look out for where Hot Wax is playing.
Perfect, great stuff. And any social medias you want to plug?
Well, it's just basically Instagram, Twitter, whatever, Hot Wax Carnival group.
Thank you very much, sir. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you.
Cheers, thank you. Now, you recognise one of the faces. We're talking about the one, the only, the legendary DJ, Mr. Smokey Joe. And we're joined by one of his sponsors from the Smokey Joe Roadshow. Love music, hate racism. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing really well. My name's Wayman Bennett. I'm proud to be with Smokey. It's a carnival of resistance. Been here for 30 years, and we need Carnival more than ever. We need Carnival against a hostile environment that's been put forward by Theresa May. The beats that we brought, the beats and colour that we brought to this country has been treated in the most disgraceful way. We want to make sure that the carnival that Claudia Jones put forward, these streets belong to us. We don't want to see people like Tommy Robinson, who suddenly says that somehow we're a problem, that immigrants are a problem, or migrants. What we brought to this country with Windrush, with further things, actually changed the way that people live in this country. We have to defend it. Carnival is about us dancing, Carnival is about our rhythm, Carnival's about our song, but it's also about our history of resistance, about enslavement, against the fight against slavery, the fight against racism. That's what we want to do. We love music and we hate racism.
Perfectly said.
Well, you said all. I don't have to say anything else. Raymond has been working hard with it. And Smokey Joe Roadshow, I've been doing Carnival for a lot of years now, far longer than I care to say. However, the realization when I teamed up with these guys is that I'm doing Carnival with a purpose. We're not going to go out there with placards and start ranting and raving, but we're going to do, our presence is going to speak for itself. And so I'm happy to be teaming up with Love Music, Hate Racism this year for Notting Hill Carnival 2018. And our team is Sunbeam, dedicated to Claudia Jones, who brought a real light into the community. So that's how we're moving.
I love that. And what I love about the way you guys are doing it, as you said, Smokey, it's not about the placards. We're showing the positivity of what we do. We're not a problem, and we're going to show it by having a celebration with no problem. That's perfect.
That is right. We are going to, celebrate ourselves. So our culture, Caribbean culture, brought a lot to the UK. There's a lot of pop stars out there who wouldn't be big stars without Caribbean culture. And we love music, we hate racism, we're here to stay.
And to be honest, the only crime they should talk about is the fact that the talent and the ability of our young people and the contribution that they're made isn't properly celebrated and isn't properly shared. When we talk about Carnival, please don't talk about crime. The only crime we want to talk about, if they're going to talk about that, is grime, is about the way that we dance, is soca. And don't do a crime against our music and our culture. Celebrate it. Don't talk about the roughness. We want to celebrate dancing together, being together.
Perfectly said, perfectly said. I see such a perfect combination in this. It's going to be a show to follow with you guys on the Carnival day, weekend.
We're asking people to join us on the road for Carnival, So if you're...
Plug away. How can they get in contact with yourself?
Well, straight away, off the top of the hand, because my daughter's in charge of everything. But yeah, Facebook, Smokey Joe Music. And get in touch with us.
Go to Love Music, Hate Racism. We've got transport. We're putting people up overnight. This Carnival 2018, the weather's right, the music's right, and attitude is right. Come down and join us. Join Smokey Joe. Come behind us. Last year we put on a show for Grenfell. This time we're putting on a show for the whole community.
Great stuff, guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys during the carnival. Thank you very much. Okay, right now it's going to be an honour to talk to someone whose organisation, whose section within the carnival is dedicated entirely to charity. All of the returns go to charity. Fiona, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks for having me.
No, thank you. So tell us, how did you come about building your section within the carnival?
I mean, how it happened was by accident. It was actually built out from tragedy, and I think from every bad thing you must try to find the silver lining and good from it. And it happened when a young woman was murdered in Trinidad and over Carnival. She was found Carnival Tuesday morning, and it was a response by certain comments that people made that it was her own fault, and that she was kind of asking for it. And I thought that very unfair, because no woman wants to be put in a situation where her safety is compromised or she loses her life. So when I started to talk to people and I felt their outrage, I felt like I had to do something. I think most people now, when they're outraged about something, they'll go on Facebook, they'll write something, and I felt to write an open letter to the mayor, and all this kind of thing. I said, no, I need to do something that is more tangible. And I think because I love Carnival, and I think one of the things that's very hurtful about Carnival to me right now is people's perceptions that it's about sex. That you see a woman in a costume, and even how she's dancing, how we whine, it's about sex, which is the roots of it is not that. At the end of the day, how we dance and how we whine, obviously it stems from Africa. And when you look at the traditional African dances, it's not about sex. We may talk about fertility, but not essentially about sex, okay? And one of the things is how we dance and how we whine is about freedom and expression, not about sex. So I think now people's perception of how Carnival has evolved is not correct at all. And so what I'm trying to do is show that just because you see a girl in a costume and she looks beautiful and very sexy, I won't deny that doesn't give you the right to grab, grope, or assault her or put her in a position where she feels uncomfortable. So that's why I wanted to do something tangible and a homage to Carnival in a way to save our culture and not have it be overrun by sexual misconceptions about our culture and what we represent and what Carnival is. So we are the only section in the world where we donate 100% of our profits to different charities to help women and families affected by domestic violence.
That is fantastic. And what I like as well is where you talked about the art of the dancing, where it's misunderstood. What's very important as well with what you do is you teach the history of music, of the carnival within your organisation. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
I mean, what I do is that I run something called Know Your Caribbean, and what it is that I think that people, if you understand the history behind something, you can appreciate it much more. So even in terms of like on a Carnival Sunday, which we had to campaign for because the council wanted to stop it, was what we call Dirty Mass. And Dirty Mass happens on pre-Carnival, okay? So before the feathers and bikinis and all the what we call pretty mass or pretty masquerade, you have Dirty Mass. And what it is that it stems from when the slaves were emancipated from slavery in the Caribbean. They went down to the sugarcane fields and they covered themselves in molasses and they danced and they rejoiced and they started a procession. So what it is a homage to our freedom. So, to take away these things from us, you're taking away the very essence of everything that Carnival is, because Carnival was birthed from the celebration of emancipation, of slavery. So all of these elements and factors are important. So if people knew that, why are they covered in paint and powder and chocolate and oil and dirt? But if you understand why, it's because it's an absolute epitome of freedom. Then you can look at it and really appreciate it from your heart like we do. So I think that if people notice these things, you can really just feel like you are a part of Carnival and not like a spectator, but you're actually a participant as well. So
Indeed. That's very interesting. In terms of the whole spectacle of Carnival, what is one of your favourite moments or aspects of Carnival?
You know what it is? It's to be in the middle of the road. So you can be walking down Notting Hill, which is obviously seen as very like upper class and then where there's a lot of people who are wealthy who live in Notting Hill and stuff, but for those 2 days we own it. So I'm in the middle of the road and I'm singing from my heart, I'm dancing from my soul, and the road belongs to me. And it's like a community. We're doing it together. Like my son is there. People I don't see for the entire year, I'll see them for that 1 year. It's like we've never missed each other. And that's the beauty of it. It's like a family thing. I think people just think, oh yeah, it's just 2 days of like dancing and drinking rum and gyrating. No. It's a family thing. And when I say family, I don't just mean children, but I mean like adults, friendships that are birthed from our mutual love of Carnival, from the people who practice pan all year, people who spend months making costumes. It's like a family thing, and we're all together and we're singing from our hearts, and that's what I love so much about it.
Perfect. That's such a great summary of Carnival. And for anyone wanting to get in contact with all the works that you're doing, how can they get in contact?
You can find the charity Not Asking For It on Facebook. It's Not Asking For It Official, or on Instagram as well, the same at Not Asking For It Official. And you can find Know Your Caribbean as well on Facebook and on Instagram as well. We're just about making it an inclusive thing and just about educating and upliftment as well for not just Caribbean people, because obviously we come from Africa as well. A lot of the things stem from Africa, and we like to kind of let everyone know that, we are all joined together throughout history. So,
Fiona, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure. Thank you.